Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Now, welcome to the dceu Daily. Welcome to Sunday's edition of the dceu Daily. Now, before I carry on, this is going to be a very special episode, not in terms of its content, in terms of dedicating this episode of the dceu Daily to my mum who died yesterday. Now, a lot of you are going to say, how can you be smiling? How can you be talking to us like this when your mum's died? Now, I've spoken about my mum. She's been ill since February. We've struggled big time with the authorities and the medical kind of situation over here. And ultimately, we needed to get her back to the UK. We failed in that and she died yesterday. I don't even know how. She could have died the night. They're saying she died. It's a horrible situation. We've got her funeral tomorrow, so I'm dedicating this episode to my late mum, Maria. So welcome to the dceu Daily, and this is going to be all about the Joker, but it's positive. We're not reading negative stuff. We're talking about this amazing weekend box office. We are looking at 60 million second weekend domestic, while the Addams Family is beating the Gemini Man. I tell you what, Will Smith's interesting to me. I mean, he's picked this movie. His schedule was too busy to do Suicide Squad 2, or did he not want to work with James Gunn? I suspect he didn't want to work with James Gunn because of the jokes 8 years ago over paedophiles and all that. I think maybe secretly he didn't want to work with him. And do you know what surprises me? That Margot Robbie was willing to work with him. And I kind of think because she made a deal with the devil when she got herself her own little production company via Warner Brothers, I think she had no choice but to be involved with this, because there are some people who wouldn't want to work with James Gunn, because as much as this was 8 years ago, as much as it was just jokes, and I don't think he deserved to lose his job with the MCU at the time. He's got it back now, but I don't think after Guardians of the Galaxy 3 he'll work with them again. But I just feel that some people just won't want to be involved with him. So let's look into detail here on the Hollywood Reporter. Todd Phillips' Joker continues to laugh hard at the box office, where it's headed for a huge second weekend of 60 million, well ahead of expectations. That's domestic, by the way. The Warner Brothers Origin pick starring Joaquin Phoenix grossed 17 million on Friday, for a domestic total of 154.7 million. It could drop only 37% in its sophomore outing, and an impressive stat. Now, these stats are beating some MCU movies. And don't forget, this is a hard R, an R-rated movie that doesn't get all of the audience like a normal, a PG or a 15 or something like that. And it's not going to be showing in China. So this is an amazing result. It really is. Joker is easily staying top the chart, although MGM and United releasing The Addams Family is on course for a strong second place finish with 32 million. Also ahead of expectations, it earned, we don't care about that. So basically, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Joker and this amazing box office. Am I surprised? I was expecting Gemini Man to give it a bit more competition. I mean, Will Smith is a big sell. But it does look like it. I think it doesn't matter who you are. I think if you decide to do a load of crap, and yes, I like Gemini Man. Gemini Man is a good film, but unfortunately, people aren't going to go and watch a film like that. People are obsessed with comic book movies. Now, whether you want to accuse this movie of just being a comic book movie in name only, it is a comic book movie. It is about the Joker. It is a fantastic version of the Joker. And just because it's got commentary about mental health and poverty and things like that doesn't mean it's not loyal to the origin material. And I think it works as a character, as the Joker. He works. It's just a very different, hard-hitting, compelling type of film. So, a 37% domestic drop is amazing. Globally, this could hit it will actually hit 500 million by Monday. This is, as I say, this is an amazing result. A film that's R-rated, a film that won't be showing in China, a film that every blogger or a lot of bloggers have tried to do down, because the audience, the consumer, I've rarely seen any negatives. There was another Marvel Comics writer calling it a bad movie and calling Joaquin's performance good, but calling the movie bad. I don't care if you like this film or don't like it or makes you feel uncomfortable. Doesn't give you the right to call it a bad movie. It's amazing now. People can just call anything a bad movie now. A bad movie is subjective to you. But of course, it's all about politics. We understand that. We know why they're going around criticising it, creating articles about it. But it's not going to work. It's too late. This film is a juggernaut, a runaway train. Now, it's interesting, actually, because I think, is it Neurotic's channel, right, on YouTube? He was talking about the Joker proving that this is the end of comic book movies or the way they're doing them. He believes that everyone's going to try and do hard R movies now. I think Sony will. I don't think Disney will. I think they've already made the decision that Black Widow isn't going to be R-rated. They can't. Look, they won't even put The Simpsons and Family Guy on Disney Plus because they don't want to scare their audience, apparently. So they're freaking crazy. So I don't know who else who's going to come in and try and do this successfully. Warner Brothers have got their New Line Cinema division. They have got the right people to work on these projects. Of course there's going to be a Joker movie sequel greenlit. Of course there's going to be more kind of black label movies greenlit. Probably a Harley Quinn standalone origin movie would be next. That would be great. That would stop all the anti-white male thing, although she's a white woman, but that doesn't seem to bother these SJWs, does it? So this is a success. There's going to be more movies like this. But I've said before, don't fear DCEU fans. The DCEU is going to go strong. We've got Harley Quinn. We've got Birds of Prey, the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. We've got the Suicide Squad coming within the DCEU. They're developing a Flash movie as well. So that's going strong. And then we've got the Batman universe and all that. So I just feel, ever since Aquaman, things have been going really swimmingly. And what do I mean by that? Does that mean I suddenly don't like BBS and MOS? Of course not. When I see swimmingly, I mean financial. I mean with the consumer. The consumer liked Aquaman. The consumer loves Shazam. The consumer loves the Joker. It doesn't matter what bloggers say. This film has proven that the day of the critic and the blogger having influence over the consumer is dead. These are now very, very interesting times we live in. This film is a success. Not just a success, it's a runaway train, as I've already said. And who knows what figures this film will end up with. They picked a great time. There's no competition. I mean, I don't know what upcoming film. I think Terminator Dark Fate. That's going to be interesting. I think Terminator Dark, is it out in November? I don't know anyway. It will be interesting if it's out next week or the week after, because if Joker was to still be on top after that, that would be a massive worry for James Cameron and everyone involved with that film. I don't think that film's going to be a big runaway train success like Joker. I think they're looking at 44 million opening weekend, which is okay, but they've spent some money on it. Let me tell you this. They spent more money on Terminator Dark Fate than they did on Joker. And that's interesting. And this is what New Line Cinema are able to do with these superhero movies. Spend a little budget and get big rewards. And of course, a studio like Warner Brothers are going to enjoy that. Does that mean The Flash is not going to spend big money? Of course not. Does that mean Wonder Woman 84 didn't spend over 200 million on its budget? Of course not. Things are happening. And we are still thinking about what else could happen within this universe now. Announcements are coming, and I believe, from what I hear, you won't have to wait for Comic-Con San Diego next year either. So what do you think about these amazing numbers for the Joker movie on its second weekend? How do you feel for what does it say that it's had such a small drop-off? All week, we've had the revelation that on the stairs, the music they play is the Gary Glitter, the convicted paedophile's music, right? Hasn't stopped the audience. They've wrote article upon negative article and nothing has stopped it. I think this is absolutely sensational, and Warner Brothers are going to be ready to greenlit a sequel, and I think as well they're going to greenlit another standalone piece for the Dark label as well. Very exciting times.